So, Ginger,
Yeah?
you know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah?
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What, like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Burrow. And that's Rory.
Yeah. Last time we talked about how to steal penguins from the zoo and heists like that. And we got a cease and desist letter from all zoos. So,
Which is what they do when you're planning to steal something.
yes.
They say, please don't.
They say cease and desist all your heist planning
Yes.
if they find out about it ahead of time. And you have to comply. That's the law.
Yeah. Now you know.
If they don't send it, you can do the heist. But we're not doing that.
No.
What ideas? Ideas, that's what we do. We talk about ideas for podcasts. That's our podcast. Do you have an idea? Do you have ideas this week?
I have an idea.
Okay.
I have one, just one.
I have several very stupid ideas for this week, so.
You're always showing up far more prepared than me.
I'm very good at having stupid ideas. Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You start. You've got the wealth of ideas. I think you should start.
So the first very stupid idea involves the Skibidi Toilet meme.
Which has been stuck in my head all day, thanks to you.
Yeah, so this morning Rory and I watched the entire Skibidi Toilet saga on YouTube. All 55 videos.
55
videos? They're like 30 seconds a piece or something, but it was still pretty long, yeah.
Yeah, so he was taking care of Rory so I could get some sleep, and he came back up and told me they watched the entire Skibidi Toilet saga together.
So if you're not like 12, the words we've just been saying are probably gibberish to you. So Skibidi Toilet, if you're not aware, is a very weird meme, I guess. Or is it even a meme exactly? It's like a series of videos.
Did it start out on TikTok?
I don't know. I've been watching compilations on YouTube, so I don't know if they're like YouTube shorts or TikToks or both or what. But anyway, it's like video game level 3D rendering of a toilet, and then a guy's head comes out of the toilet.
Starts singing.
And he starts singing a Skibidi Toilet. The Skibidi, it's like Skibidi dee da dee da dee, Skibidi dee dee, or something. I don't know. I can't sing it, but. No, it's not that. That's a different song. That's the Scatman song. But
I thought it was the Skibidi part from the Scatman song.
It's not. It's a different song. Okay. But it's
in my head
also
it's the same
scatting,
song.
Kind of. But anyway, it's pretty creepy and weird, and like I think at the end of the first video, it's just like a head on a neck coming out of a toilet, and it's very poorly rendered, and the face doesn't like work, like the parts of the face don't animate properly, so they're like overlapping each other in a creepy way. And I think at the end of the first one, the head like zooms into the camera at the end of it. It just repeats this little stupid song. Yeah. And then, anyway, it's creepy and weird.
They start multiplying.
Yeah, and then there's second video where it's a huge one. Or I don't know if it's the second video, but it progresses to like some people in like a classroom, and then a bunch of Skibidi Toilet guys burst into the room and then and sing their song, and everybody runs away or something like that. And then there's like a huge like military style parade of Skibidi Toilets coming down a city street with like huge toilet guys, and then it progresses from there to like the cameraman. I guess the the idea is that whatever was filming this was like cameramen who are literally like guys in suits with cameras for heads. And they start having like a war with the Skibidi toilets where they're like flushing the guys down the toilet. The head, like they're using the flush thing on the toilet to send the heads back down the toilet, and then it escalates and escalates. It goes back and forth of who's winning, the camera guys or the Skibidi toilets, and the toilets get like laser eyes, and they can they get like helicopter blades and can fly, and the cameramen get like the ability to like what do? They like it's
we
just
don't
like,
have to recount.
Yeah, it's like
thing.
So it's like an arms race kind of thing where like the Skibidi toilets find a way to like possess the cameramen, and then the cameramen invent a gun that unpossesses the cameramen, and then the Skibidi toilets do something else, and then there's like guys with TVs for heads and speakers for heads, and they're all fighting the toilets. And then the toilets get bigger, and there's like one that looks like seems like maybe it can travel through time or something. Like it gets really weird, and like epic is kind of the word you would use, but in a really stupid way. Like these
epic in the literal sense, not in like, dude, this is epic.
Yeah, kind of both in a way, but not in epic like this is good per se.
Yeah.
Anyway, the idea for the podcast is that we like report on the Skibidi Toilet Wars, like as war correspondents, and like, I don't know, talk about the different battles that are portrayed in the videos and stuff like that, sort of, over time. Or potentially we could just treat it like, a text that we could analyze and talk about like the latest developments. Like Charles Dickens's books were originally published as serially, right? And you could read in a newspaper or magazine or whatever it was. You could read the next chapter, right?
So you're saying
so this is today's.
We could be the next Charles Dickens.
Well, no, the Skibidi person creating the Skibidi toilet stuff is the next Dickens. That's today's Dickens.
We're reporting on Dickens.
We're just the literary the analysts, I guess.
I see.
Talking about this great work of art. And I don't know what we call it, Skibidi Toilet War Correspondents, or I don't know, something like that.
Toilet Wars.
Could be
the sister podcast to our popular Toilet Talk podcast.
Yeah. Skibidi Toilet Wars, maybe. Or, I don't know.
It feels like Skibidi should probably be in the title somewhere.
Yeah. I can tell you the latest episode, one of the toilet guys was huge and it was a skull.
Right, because this is ongoing.
Yes. As far as I know, it's ongoing. And the latest one, the title said Skibidi Skeleton.
Maybe that's what we should have named our skeleton.
Skibidi Skeleton.
Yeah, in other news,
Walter. Yeah.
in other excellent news, this week we picked up our 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot.
We did. And we named it Skeletal Walter because in World of Warcraft, there's a raid called Karazhan, which takes place in a haunted castle, which includes like a banquet and undead people eating at the banquet, including skeletal waiters,
which I thought said Skeletal Walter.
Right, we thought it was like, oh, we're fighting Skeletal Walter. But no, it was a waiter. But that's
how Skeletal Walter was born.
Yes. Maybe we need to think about a podcast about Skeletal Walter. But
what about a podcast just about skeletons?
Okay. That's interesting.
Because we're both big fans of skeletons.
We both like skeletons. We both have skeletons.
Yeah, we both have skeletons. Our son has a skeleton.
All of my best friends have skeletons.
Yeah.
So it's okay if I say racist stuff about skeletons. I don't know. That reminds me of a really good...
How do you say racist stuff about skeletons?
I don't know.
Actually, you know what? Actually,
could.
That's been done historically, hasn't it?
But that was about the people based on their skeletons, not about the skeleton. Not like skeletons are so lazy they never do work.
I'm just saying. I just said after I said it, I realized skeletal racism. Actually, that's better thing.
But that's not racism against skeletons per se. But it could be. We could come up with that. Could be. We could invent a new form of racism.
That's not the turn I want this podcast to take.
It's called I Hate Skeletons.
No.
Or we call them like skellers or something. Some kind of racist term. Bonos.
I mean, we could call it I Hate Skeletons if you want, but it should still be a skeletal enthusiast.
No, I'm saying if we make a racism against skeleton podcast.
Yeah.
I
don't want to do that. But I do think a skeleton enthusiast podcast
could be fun. It could be fun. It reminds me of a one of my favorite Onion articles of all time. I'm gonna not remember the headline, but it's basically like archaeologists discover an entire city full of spooky skeletons, and it's like the whole article's like, and the skeletons were found here, and we imagine that they lived, they ran around and did skeleton things. It's a very good article.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But
it's from like 10 or 15 years
Just
ago.
Just like you found a bunch of dead people, but oh my gosh, we found a race of skeletons.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's the idea,
yeah. Yeah.
Very good article. Anyway, so Skibidi Skeleton podcast or Skibidi Toilet podcast. That's my first very stupid idea.
Or a skeleton enthusiast podcast.
Or a skeleton enthusiast podcast.
Yeah.
We'd have to talk more about what that would actually look like, but
yeah,
come back to that maybe.
Yeah. In the vein of enthusiast podcasts, my idea this week was inspired by Rory, which was a llama enthusiast podcast.
A llama enthusiast podcast, because Rory has his two little front teeth on the bottom coming in, and he looks like a little llama.
Yeah.
Did you see my Facebook post, by the way?
I did.
Yeah.
I did see your Facebook post. His Facebook post was a picture of the llama from Emperor's New Groove next to a picture that I took of our son making a funny face showing off his teeth. And it was excellent.
It's
the same face. And it was excellent because I saw it, I commented on it because I was sitting there rocking Rory to sleep, and I had that thought.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think Emperor's New Groove llama. I just thought a llama. So yours was better.
I mean, I don't know if real llamas in real life always have exactly that kind of like two front teeth or two bottom teeth sticking out in the front.
When they chew, they do.
They kind of do, but wouldn't have been as perfect as Cusco as a llama. I mean, we could also do an Emperor's New Groove fan cast.
Oh yeah,
especially because we haven't even seen Kronk's New Groove, and I heard it's actually pretty good.
It's supposed to be actually pretty good. Yeah,
we should watch that today.
Yeah,
let's watch that today.
All right, let's do it. Yeah. An Emperor's New Groove fancast would be great.
What would we do with the Emperor's New Groove? Because there's only one movie. Well, there's only a couple movies. I guess there's a TV show maybe too, but I don't feel like it was very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could just we talk about our favorite moments in Emperor's New Groove. We could find weird bits of trivia about the movie.
Yeah.
Talk about why Eartha Kitt is wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, people do podcasts where they watch we've talked about this before. People do podcasts where they watch the same movie or the same show over and over and over again and keep talking about it. And I guess those work. So
yeah, I mean,
make it work.
And I'm already watching this movie over and over again.
Right.
So.
Right. By all accounts, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Favorite quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
Why do we even have that lever?
Right. Sure.
I'll put that box inside another box.
And I'll smash it with a hammer. Yeah.
Beware the groove.
Yeah. A pacha.
It's an excellent movie.
It's a very good movie.
If you haven't seen it, what are you even doing with your life?
Yeah. I feel like you had not seen it when we first met. Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah, I think I showed that to you. And
I now mark my life in before and after Emperor's New Groove.
Beg and egg. BG and yes, doesn't matter. Did you?
It's still it's BK and AK for Cusco and after Cusco.
Oh, is Cusco with a K?
I think it's with a K, right?
I feel like his name is with a K, but the real city is with a C, maybe. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, because in that case, then it can just be BC and AC.
Right.
None of this AD nonsense.
Well, it could be AD Anno Domini, but our Lord is Cusco, not Jesus.
Which is if I've got to pick something to worship.
I mean, would it be Cusco? I feel like Pacha maybe would be better.
I mean, Kronk, really. It would definitely be Kronk.
Yeah.
Because Kronk's the best of us.
Yeah, I suppose.
He is.
Well, we haven't seen what happens in Kronk's New Groove. Maybe it really changes.
Maybe he just becomes a total a-hole.
Yeah, maybe he gets canceled after that. Did you want to talk more about your llama fan cast?
I think I would much. I mean, now that we've mentioned an Emperor's New Groove fan cast, that's what I want to do.
Okay, so the llama thing's out, the regular llama thing. And now it's no llama face.
We could incorporate, we could incorporate llama facts into our Emperor's New Groove podcast.
Or we could not, and we could call it No Llama Facts. Which, if you have seen the movie as many times as we have, might be a funny joke to you, but probably not to anyone else.
My face, good. My beautiful, beautiful face.
Okay,
I'm an
okay.
Llama.
Wait.
Llama face.
Anyway, okay. Well, that's pretty
even
interesting.
if you've only seen the movie once, that's a pretty famous scene from the movie.
Probably. I don't know.
And it's what we have been saying to our son over and over since he has llama teeth.
His teeth came in.
No llama teeth!
Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty solid contender, I would say.
Yeah. Let's entertain a few more ideas, but I think any opportunity I have to talk about Emperor's New Groove is probably what I want to do.
Okay, well, my next idea is weirdly kind of along similar lines in that it's an idea for a fan cast based on some movies.
Okay.
So there was a movie in, I think, 1996 called Air Bud.
I'm aware.
Right, about a dog that plays basketball. Because there's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
Okay, and then there were several sequels to that. There was a football one called Air Bud Golden Receiver, I believe, and some other ones. Anyway,
okay.
And then there were spin-offs to the Air Bud franchise, the Air Buddies, which is a bunch of little dogs, little golden retrievers, whose names all are something Bud. There's like Mud Bud and Buddha or Buddha. I think they say Buddha, but it's like Buddha. Mm-hmm. And there's a girl one. I don't remember what her name was. Anyway, there's a bunch of those. And I have seen most of them. I haven't seen all of them. But I've seen Space Buddies, Treasure Buddies, Spooky Buddies. I don't know if I've seen the first one, actually, Air Buddies. And I don't think I've seen Super Buddies. Or Snow Buddies. Oh, and I saw Santa Buddies.
Yeah, I think I watched that one with you.
Yeah. And they're all very terrible and fun. Mm-hmm.
Mostly terrible, but a little fun.
But kind of fun. Fun to make fun of.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been a new one, I believe, since 2013. So it's been 10 years, which could mean that the franchise is dead.
Oh. Rip.
So my idea is a podcast called something like Beyond Buddies, where we imagine more sequels to the Buddies movies, more installments. You know, like, I don't know, Undersea Buddies, or
would we be coming
Trapped on an Island Buddies, maybe, or like Robot Wars Buddies, or I don't know, Future Buddies, or we would come up with all kinds of ridiculous new Buddies movies. Okay. And then imagine, like, what they would be like.
So we'd be coming up with the plots and stuff.
Yeah, and like, so if you haven't seen these movies, I'll look it up because I want to get this right. So there are several of the buddies, and they are little dogs, puppies, and there's a girl one, her name's Rosebud. There's a white rapper one named B-Dog, D-A-W-G. There's one that's like Buddhist, I guess, and his name's Buddha, or Buddha, or whatever. There's a fat one who also likes sports, and his name is Butterball. And there's one that's always dirty named Mudbud. And I think that's the main buddies.
All right.
And so in every one, something stupid happens with all of the different buddies. Like in Spooky Buddies, I think spoiler alert, but I think the ultimate solution to the conflict of the movie involves Butterball, the fat one, farting a lot, and it makes the evil dog run away or something like that. Anyway, so we would come up with new movies in the Buddy series, and maybe Disney or whatever would hire us to write some more Buddies movies, I guess.
Should we talk about this An Emperor's New Groove during the writing strike? Or does it matter on a podcast?
It matters on a podcast, but they're not new. They're old.
Okay.
So they're not, I don't think they count as part of the struck.
But I don't think we want to be scabbing for Disney.
Well, true. We're not members of any of the guilds or anything like that, but we certainly wouldn't try to write anything until the strike's resolved. We stand with them, we support them.
Till they start paying writers and actors what they're worth, because it's bullshit that they're making all this money off of streaming and not fucking paying people.
Yeah, it's like the same as it was in 2008, basically.
Yeah.
Or whatever that was.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and CEOs from the studios saying like, oh, we're just going to wait until they can't pay their rent and are starving.
Yeah, they're really just
cool.
fucking saying the quiet part loud now.
Anyway, yeah, so assuming that the Buddies movies, which again haven't come out, and none of them have come out in the last 10 years, are not part of the list of struck works, I think it's okay for us to talk about them.
Yeah.
And I was mostly joking about Disney hiring us to write. I was actually entirely joking about Disney hiring us to write more Buddies movies, although
Don't add us, Disney.
I guess, again, once the strike's over, I guess if they wanted to, I probably wouldn't say no.
Can we say don't add us now?
You still at people.
Yeah, I guess
stuff.
you still at people.
Yeah, you mean since Twitter is basically in the toilet.
Yeah.
Twitter
is the toilet.
Yeah, but not the Skibidi Toilet, because that's way better than Twitter.
Really, crazy to throw that kind of brand recognition out the window, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just a master class in how to run a business into the ground.
It's a little bit it makes me a little bit, relieved, I guess, because now I don't feel like I need to pay attention to Twitter anymore.
Oh.
It's kind of like how when the Star Wars prequels came out and they were all so bad, it made me relieved because I didn't have to, care about Star Wars anymore.
Any societal pressure
anymore. Star Wars is fine, but, I'm part of the nerd group that, is supposed to like it and talk about it and stuff, and I just don't have to feel like I have to care about it anymore. Anyway, so sort of the same with Twitter, but...
Yeah.
So
are you saying you don't like Star Wars? Because, just
it's
to make
fine.
sure the internet is clear on your position.
It's fine. I'm more of a Star Trek person, but also Star Wars is fine, but I also don't care about it very much.
Yeah. Don't add us.
Don't threads us or anything or whatever the hell. So we've got a few ideas we've talked about. Do we want to talk about any more, or should we recap?
Let's pretend we're going to pick one and then pick the Emperor's New Groove fancast.
I don't know. I don't know if there's actually that much to talk about as far as the Emperor's New Groove fancast, because while it is something we might try to do, actually, if we're going to make a podcast like that, I don't know that it, what are we going to say about it? Just say some more of the catchphrases?
Okay, what's your least favorite part of, let's try it out. What's your least favorite part of the Emperor's New Groove?
All the pre-llama stuff is kind of all the stuff where Cusco, there's some very good stuff in there too, the poison specifically for Cusco, that poison.
Yeah.
And stuff, all the Kronk stuff and Yzma stuff and whatever.
And the
actually all the pre and post llama stuff.
How about the part where that you didn't discover till that meme went around, where she pours the extract of llama in the plant behind her?
What do you mean? That's a great part.
No, I just was pointing out
that is pre-llama. Yeah. That is pre-llama. No. There's a lot of good parts pre-llama.
No, but it wasn't finished. Then the plant turns into a llama.
Yes. The cactus.
The cactus
is llama shaped after she dumps the extract of llama in there or whatever. Yes, no, there are a bunch of good parts before that, but I guess I only like Cusco when he's a llama. I don't only, but I mainly like him when he's a llama.
Yeah, well, he's suffering then.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so.
And also llamas are just better than people.
He's not always suffering. When he's yay, I'm a llama again.
Wait.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess when he first becomes a llama, he's suffering.
Yeah.
Llama face.
And you want him to suffer because he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's not a good dude. Neither is Yzma.
No.
And Kronk, strictly speaking, is a sort of a villain in the movie, but...
Yeah, but he's a henchman.
And he's too dumb.
to
blame him, I guess, sort of.
Yeah.
Even though he does try to murder Cusco Which is arguably okay, I guess, to murder a tyrant or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, at the beginning, you're kind of on Yzma's side,
well,
right?
but not to install another even worse tyrant.
Well, right. But, like, you understand where she's coming from, because it did fuck her over.
Well, but that's more of her, like, finally having consequences catch up to her, really, than, like, she's been terrible and deserved to be fired for probably decades.
Yeah, but
right?
he didn't fire her because she was terrible, did he?
He fired her for sitting on the throne and doing his job when she wasn't supposed to, which is what she was not supposed to,
All right. I mean, fair. But, like, what's she supposed to do after, like, 40 years or however long she's worked for him?
Well, what's she got to do? She doesn't got to do anything. She still gets to live in the palace and be,
Does she?
Yeah, they don't kick her out or anything, I don't think. And anyway, she's probably got lots of gold or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not worried about her. Also, she's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, but I understand why she's mad. Like, sucks to be fired from your job that you've had forever.
Yeah, sure. I
mean, okay, maybe murder's a little bit of an overreaction.
Yeah.
See, we've got plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about that movie on a podcast for 2-3 episodes, maybe. And then I guess we got another Kronk's New Groove or whatever to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we get more than a month of podcasts out of it, really, though.
Well, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this being a short-lived I mean, there are short-lived fan casts.
Sure. Okay. My point was more about the current thing we're doing at this moment, which is trying to have a funny podcast talking about podcast ideas. And I don't know how much more we have to talk about.
No, I've got plenty
especially more. If people haven't seen it. Because that podcast would specifically go out to people who were probably fans of the movies.
I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, then you should pause this podcast and go watch it. And then come back and listen to it all over again.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we'll get twice the listens.
Yeah, it'll count twice probably. Yeah, sure. And then maybe listen one more time just for good measure.
Yeah, in case you missed anything.
Yeah, in case you missed some of our riveting commentary.
So you don't want to talk about Emperor's New Groove?
Well, we just spent a long time talking about it.
I mean, I want to keep talking about it, but what do you want to talk about?
What else do you have to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
No, I want to know, like, if you have more to talk about, we might as well talk about it.
Well, we could keep debating Yzma. We could keep debating Kronk.
We probably would also want to rewatch the movie again so everything is fresh.
Yeah.
Because although it's probably only been a few months since we saw it most recently, there's... I didn't take notes or anything for the debate.
Right.
Which, by the way, I just want to point out that you, last time, fully struck down my debate idea. And now you're like, let's debate about Yzma.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking about Emperor's New Groove, everything is fun.
Okay.
So if you had suggested a debate podcast about Emperor's New Groove, I would have fully been on board.
Okay. I guess we could talk about what are some of our favorite parts.
Yeah, okay.
How about we go back and forth? I'll say a part and then you say a part.
Okay.
And this is just randomly off the top of my head, I guess. The part where Kronk is listening to the angel and devil on his shoulders, and the devil is like telling him whatever the devil's telling him, and the angel's like, no, don't do that, and the devil's like, yeah, but check this out, I can do a bunch of push-ups. And he's like, Kronk is like, I don't know if that, and the angel's like, no, he's got a point.
All right, well, one of my favorite parts, there's a lot of Kronk favorite parts.
Yeah.
Definitely at the end when he's teaching the troop how to speak squirrel.
The Squirrel Scouts or whatever.
The Squirrel Scouts how to speak squirrel, and he's like, squeak, 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 squeak 'em.
Yeah, and they repeat after him.
Yeah, I love the squirrel.
Yeah, the squirrel's pretty great. Okay, I love the part where the guards that are chasing Pacha and Cusco through the palace or whatever all get transformed into animals. And then, like one of them is an octopus and one of them's various animals, and one of them's a cow, and they all got changed, and the cow goes, excuse me, I got turned into a cow, can I go home? And the guard captain is like, yeah, go ahead, or whatever. Or no, Yzma.
No, Yzma's like,
yeah, you're excused. And then, but everybody else is, and she's like, anybody else? And they're like, no, we're okay.
Yeah.
And they just keep going. And then they all just jump into a hole and die.
Yeah.
Like, knowingly. They're like, no one lives forever, and jump into a hole and die.
Let's see, what else? I do like Pacha's wife a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Oh,
I can't remember.
She's played by Nina.
Nina from Just Shoot Me, yeah.
Her name is Wendy Malick, I think.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the character's name.
I enjoy the part when Yzma and Kronk show up and are trying to threaten her and the kids for information. And Yzma, that they're locked in the closet. And Yzma says,
she says, like,
let us open the door and let us out. We're going to burn your house down.
And we're going to burn your house
down.
We're
going to burn your house down. She's like, I think you want to say or. Fine, let us out. Or we'll burn your house down.
And the kids are like, which one is it? That's a very important conjunction. Yeah.
I do love the kids, too.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about, like, all the little moments I really love. Like, the I think it's towards the end, there's a trampoline, like, somebody falls from a really high height. And then there happens to be a trampoline there, and they get flung back up.
Right.
But you see, like, either right before or right after, like, somebody, like a trampoline delivery guy,
like arguing
with the guy. He's like, it doesn't belong here. And then he's like, well, you could have told me that before I set it up.
Yeah.
And then, like, somebody bounces off of it.
Yeah, it's very, like, nodding at the fourth wall kind of humor.
And there's more direct versions of that, too, right? Because there's a sequence where where Kronk and Yzma are chasing Pacha and Kuzco back to the palace through the wilderness or whatever, and there's a map sequence where it shows, like, them running, like, their paths as they're going back to the thing, and then it, like, zooms out and you can see the paths are on the ground behind them as they're actually running. And then Pacha and Kuzco get back to the palace or whatever and are trying to get the potion or whatever, and then Kronk and Yzma are already there, and they're like, wait, how did you beat us here? And then Kronk pulls down the map and is like, by all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
or something like
got
that.
me.
Yeah,
that part's very good. Of course, why do we even have that lever?
Right.
Is a great moment.
Why do they even have that lever?
Yeah.
Why do we even have that lever?
One that we quote constantly throughout
just,
life.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
And they both come out, when that happens, they both come out with an alligator, like, attached to their foot.
Yeah,
and just, like,
just kicking it off. Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate that in cartoons, alligators are so much less threatening in cartoons. Like, in cartoons, they're kind of, like, menacing, but, like, the worst thing that they do is, like, bite your leg, and you just shake them off like a tiny dog.
Well, like everything in cartoons, they're dangerous when it's important for them to be dangerous. And just to laugh, when they're supposed to be for jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. There's like when Kuzco does the little dance where he's like, get down with your bad self. Yeah. And does a little dance.
Yeah, that's excellent. Let's see, what else? The whole restaurant scene is wonderful.
Oh, yes, of course. The whole restaurant scene is completely ridiculous.
All of it, yeah.
There's the little kids going, no, like, yeah. And we definitely quote that. There's the part where Kuzco throws a rock at Pacha, and then Pacha looks over, and Kuzco's like, oh, I don't know, somebody's throwing stuff.
Oh, yeah, somebody's throwing stuff around here, I don't know. Yeah, we definitely use that one a lot. Of course, I do very much love the beginning when he just starts, like, crying.
Yeah. And, like, he's, like, arguing with himself, or, like, he's like, they ruined my life for no reason. And the other version of him is like, shut up, man. Nobody cares. Nobody believes that. They saw what happened. And the crying is like,
yeah, that's it. I was trying to remember the cry.
Yeah.
See, you have seen this movie even more times than I have.
Yes, that's probably true.
And this just makes me feel like I need to watch it more.
Yeah.
So maybe this would be a good, like, once a year podcast.
Maybe.
If it was a once a year podcast, would we do it? Would there be a holiday where we would celebrate by watching Emperor's New Groove?
What
if we just picked a really weird one, like Veterans Day?
Flag Day or something.
Yeah. A holiday that nobody cares about, and now we have a reason to look forward to.
Yeah. Halloween? No.
You shut your mouth.
That was an obvious troll. Yeah, I don't know. Is this the whole podcast we're doing today? Because this is fun, but I don't know if this is fun to listen to. Because if you haven't seen the movie, this is probably nonsense. And if you have seen the movie, then you're like, yeah, I do remember that movie as well. Right?
I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, we've hopefully enticed you to see the movie.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can move on to another topic.
I mean, so I could bring up other things, but so far we've talked about Skibidi Toilet, Buddies Beyond, this Emperor's New Groove thing, and the maybe Llama podcast.
Yeah, I feel like the Buddies one has some potential, probably.
Yeah.
I don't feel prepared to offer Skibidi commentary.
That's true. I have to make you watch the full saga.
I've not seen the entire
Toilet.
saga.
Yeah, so I guess let's see what we can do with the Buddies idea.
All right.
Okay, so to recap, as far as what Buddies movies have been made already, so the Buddies movies that have existed so far is Air Buddies, the first one, which I think is not particularly themed around any particular stuff other than probably sports or whatever. Snow Buddies, Space Buddies, Santa Buddies, Spooky Buddies, Treasure Buddies, and Super Buddies, where they become superheroes.
All right. Veterans Day Buddies.
Veterans Day Buddies? Okay. That's...
How could we make the Buddies franchise worse?
How could we make it more marketable to the kind of people who would ever watch these movies for real? I.e., I guess little kids.
Yeah, okay. I guess Veterans Day
kids.
Buddies is out then.
Yeah, I feel like kids probably want... Because I was thinking like, robot. What about robot buddies? Either they become robots somehow.
Or they make friends with some robo-dogs?
Yeah, maybe there's robo-dogs. Maybe they get transported to Robo-Dog Land or something.
What's Robo-Dog Land?
I don't know. The land where robo-dogs live. And it's all robo-dogs and robots and stuff.
Yeah, that place, right.
You know, well, okay, in the Santa Buddies movie, they go to the North Pole, and there's an icicle that's melting, and if it's the icicle that's full of Christmas spirit or something.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Also, Christopher Lloyd was in that one.
Weirdly. In a character that he was the dog catcher. Right?
Yeah, he was the mean dog catcher that turned kind of nice at the end or whatever.
And there was that little dog that sang Christmas miracle.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
He's a Christmas miracle.
We need a Christmas miracle, a Christmas miracle this year.
It was really bad. So good.
Rory is just looking at me like, what just happened?
Because for a while after we watched that, we would just start saying that.
Yeah, I mean, it was at Christmas time, so.
It was a Christmas movie, obviously, Santa Buddies, which was mainly about Santa Paws, which is Santa's dog, but his son.
That was actually Rory's first Christmas, so.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, so he was there for watching that movie. Probably slept through it.
It was a Christmas movie. Yeah, I think there's another series. So there's Air Bud. I think there's also a Santa Paws series. And so this was kind of a crossover between the Santa Paws verse and the Buddies verse. Yeah, that was dumb. Anyway, the reason I brought that up is just because I guess the North Pole is Christmas dog land.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking of an analogous thing with robot dogs.
Okay. But the North Pole exists in the popular consciousness.
Yeah,
and
also in the real world.
And also in the real world.
Fact.
And Roboland does not.
Roboland is not a thing. Okay, maybe they get transported to the future. Yes. The Buddies.
Back to the Future Buddies.
Back to the Future. And Christopher Lloyd could be in it again.
We already know he's a fan.
Yeah. Well, we already know that he'll do things for a paycheck.
Can there be a senior dog like the one from Incredible Journey? And that's he's the inventor. He's the time travel inventor.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's Buddies, but just like a parody version of Back to the
and
Future.
time travel was invented.
Maybe it's like Buddies to the Future or something.
Buddies,
Bud to the Future.
Buddies to the Future is very good.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to watch this movie now.
So in the beginning of Back to the Future, the Doc gets attacked by Libyans with a bazooka, as I recall.
Yeah.
So what's the analogous thing to happen in Buddies to the Future?
Okay.
And I think
it gets attacked by a dog catcher.
Okay, with a little bit of a racist accent or something.
Yeah, I mean,
we
it
want to
doesn't.
reproduce
We don't have to make it racist.
Yeah,
we can get rid of the racism.
Maybe it's like I don't see the I don't know if the buddies are gonna drive in a car like a DeLorean though. I mean, I guess they get into the spaceship.
They've got to drive. The movie's better if there's dogs driving cars.
That's true. Okay, so Doc Bud or whatever,
and they go back to 1955.
Okay.
Or actually, I saw a thing today that was like, if Back to the Future were made today, they would go back. Marty would go back to 1993.
Oh, jeez. Right.
So maybe they go back to 1993.
Okay, the Buddies in the 90s. Well, wait, but Air Bud is a 90s movie originally.
Oh, yeah, so they could be going back in time to like meet Air Bud.
Oh, okay, so they have to go back. Air Bud's. Okay, there's a mean dog in the present time that's analogous to Biff Tannen, right?
Right, okay.
And he goes back. This is a little bit more the plot of Back to the Future 2, but he goes back in time.
We can do nods to both.
Yeah, he goes back in time and makes there be a rule that dogs can't play basketball.
Oh.
And the buddies have to go back and remove that rule from the rule book or whatever.
Wait, is Biff a big mean dog or is he like a big tomcat? Maybe he wants cats to play basketball. And so he goes back and changes things so that they go back and they find that like instead of Air Bud, there's like Air Buster and he's like one of those naked cats.
he's a Sphinx cat
or whatever. Sphinx cat, yeah, because like those are always are always the evil cats in movies.
Yeah, and also imagine one of those with a basketball headband and like armbands and stuff.
Oh, that's adorable.
That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's called like Air Buster or Air something.
Yeah.
What's a good cat? I mean, Bud is not a very good dog name to begin with, so I don't know. But like, what's a cat equivalent of Bud as a dog name? I mean, maybe
it's Hairless Bud.
Because it's not Air Bud, it's Hair Bud, but Hairless Bud.
No, that's not anything.
No, it almost, but isn't.
Almost.
Actually, Buster's fine, because you know what? We're putting more thought into this than the actual writers would. If
right,
this movie
Air Buster.
Air Buster's fine. Okay, so Air Buster, so he goes back in time.
Oh, Air Bubs.
Air Bubs?
Yeah. Bubs was a cat on the internet.
How about, sounds familiar, but now I can't picture the cat. Anyway, I was thinking it could be like Air Bubbles. Maybe the cat's name is Bubbles.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like it's a Buster.
A Buster.
It's
okay.
A Buster.
Air Buster. And he goes back in time and puts in a rule that dogs can't play basketball, but then somebody's like, but there's no rule that cats can't play basketball.
Right, yeah.
And so the buddies have to go back and fix that.
Yeah.
And like there's definitely a scene where like there's a photograph of them and they're all disappearing out of the photograph. What other like and
instead of the guitar like scene, it's that one. It's the rap buddy.
Yeah, he invents rap.
He
called like Chuck Berry's equivalent in the 90s. I don't know. My 90s rap knowledge isn't very good. The guy from one of the from the Humpty Dance song, maybe. What are they called? Digital Underground, or somebody from like Run DMC or something.
Is like
he's got to call the record
company.
Producer or whatever. It's like, you need to hear this.
Yeah.
And then there's definitely like a rap. Oh, there's definitely the rap dog doing like an Eminem song or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but it's about like cats versus dogs or something.
Yeah. What does he actually play? What does Marty play? Is it just
It's just guitar, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, I know, but it's like a famous song, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's
I can't remember. We can look it up. Maybe it's not, but I feel like it's a famous song. Maybe even a Chuck Berry song?
I feel like it was a Chuck Berry song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's Chuck Berry's cousin and he calls Chuck, right?
Right.
And that's what he plays that and he's like, you gotta hear this sound or something, right? So then well,
and so it could be Chuck D from Run DMC.
Yeah, Chuck D, and it should be what group does Rapper's Delight? Hip to the hip. Who does that? Man, I feel like a nerd not remembering this.
It is Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay, because I was thinking, because that seems like it would be a pretty good one for B-Dog to do and have it be incredibly cringe but also kind of great.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. It's bugging me what the song is. Hold on, I gotta look it up. Right, because it's Marvin Berry.
Right.
Calls his cousin Chuck.
Right. It reminds me of a tweet from a long time ago from Demi Dijuibe, which was just, the whole tweet was just...
Johnny Be Good.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Be Good, right. Which is, Chuck Berry's song, yeah. The Demi tweet that was like, are you there, God? It's me, your cousin, Marvin God.
Oh, love Demi.
Demi's great. Anyway, yeah, this is actually surprisingly kind of good.
Yeah, this could be fun on a regular basis.
This is better. This movie that we're describing is probably better than
any of the Buddies
movies. Actual Buddies movies.
Yeah.
Which is kind of shocking because this is a very stupid idea that we thought of.
Buddies to the Future, though, pretty good.
And we could easily do Buddies to the Future 2 and Buddies to the Future 3 where they go back to the Old West. And
we could come up with more, like, Buddies parodies that I think would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think taking the franchise in the direction of doing Buddies versions, they're not even really parodies, they're just Buddies versions of other movies.
Yeah.
Could be pretty fun.
We could save this franchise.
Yeah.
Does this franchise need saving? I don't know.
Well, as far as I know, it hasn't come out in
2013,
10 years. And clearly it's an IP that needs to keep existing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do we have any other ideas for this? So I mentioned Underwater Buddies. I feel like that could be fun.
Yeah, like maybe a Little Mermaid parody.
Yeah, well, they don't probably all have to be versions of other movies necessarily.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, we've got Space Buddies, we've got Snow Buddies. We need one where the buddies are in, like, scuba gear or whatever.
Is there not one where they're in scuba gear already?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe that happens in the first one, but not because I haven't seen that one.
Maybe the buddies, like, go on a cruise with their humans and end up in the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, Bermuda Buddies.
Bermuda Buddies.
Bermuda Buddies is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they definitely interact with, like, ghost pirates.
Yeah, they've got to find find a shipwreck.
There's already a Treasure Buddies, which is Egyptian based.
Yeah, but this is a shipwreck.
Yeah. They've got to find,
because they've got to have a reason to scuba dive, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, for the Underwater Buddies, I was sort of imagining like what's it called? Remember that show with Roy Scheider?
Sequest?
Sequest, yeah. There was like a robot dolphin, or not a robot dolphin, but a cyber dolphin or something, and that could talk.
Really?
Yeah.
I never watched this show.
Oh, yeah. No, there was a dolphin that they like hooked up to like a brain thing to make it talk, and Jonathan Brandis was like a prodigy genius kid or whatever, and they were in like a super futuristic boat or submarine, I guess. Anyway, I was picturing a futuristic thing, but so that could be a different movie. Because Bermuda Buddies is definitely very good.
Yeah.
And should definitely be a thing.
Yeah.
Ghost Pirates, I feel like there should be like planes that were down there that they find.
They meet like a ghost dog that tells them about like a shipwreck and some treasure.
Yeah. There should be, basically, growing up, my mom had a book or a series of Time Life books that were like printed in like silver and stuff. For some reason, all the photos were like silvery and the books were silver. Anyway, she had one about like the Bermuda Triangle, or maybe the whole series about Bermuda Triangle, with all kinds of silly rumors and like the ship that went down or the plane that never came back, or like Which, by the way, if you aren't aware that per capita, like, missing ships in the Bermuda Triangle is not any higher than anywhere else. It's just it was a very common place for ships to go, so lots of ships went down. But anyway, we look up all the goofy, like, legends about it and just have those all happen to the buddies in some way or other.
Yeah.
And then probably they save the day by farting a lot or whatever. All right, I think we're at time with Rory.
Yeah, so you can find us on social media. You can find all of our socials on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can find us on Instagram, and I don't think we're on Threads yet, but I'll fix that at What Should Pod. Still on Twitter for now.
We did finally post on Instagram a picture of Ted Cruz and Jeff Bezos pissing their pants together, and also Elon Musk shitting his pants.
So go check that out.
So that's there.
It's also on our Facebook.
You can email us what@coolpodcast.website.
And leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that really helps get our podcast in front of other people. And please email us your ideas, because we would like to hear your dumb ideas as well.
Yeah, send us your ideas. You can email them. You can send them on Facebook or Threads or Twitter or whatever. Anywhere that we are, you can even leave a review with some ideas if you want, and we will we'll talk about those if you do. I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
And Rory is about to explode. So
Rory, would you like to have some final words? He yawned.
I need to train him how to sing the Skibidi Toilet song.
Someday, Rory will be talking on our podcast in actual words.
Probably, yeah. Unless he thinks it's really lame by that point. We'll see. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.